Hey everybody, this is Captain Fool reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Hey friends, welcome back to the weekly comic book review. So good to have you all back here. I just want to say thank you for everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, watching these videos, and commenting. You are all amazing. Yep, you're great. So we're going to start right off with World's Finest. Yeah, Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue number 36. With a weekly, with the good old League of Comics Geeks there giving us that hand with their views. It had 159 ratings with a 3.8 average rating. And, I actually think this is one of the weaker issues of the series. I gave it a 7 in comparison to them. So, some differences of opinion, maybe a little bit. But anyway, the writer is Mark Waid and artist is Adrian Gutierrez. And, well, we have Atlantis is under assault, right? Aquaman's leadership is being challenged, and we have figured out the villain that sort of instigated everything, the Floratic Man. And so what do we get? We get Swamp Thing to help out here. So the Atlanteans need a real man, evidently. And of course, that real man is Superman to save the day. But this book has some mediocre art, and Superman starts a love triangle. It really wasn't my favorite issue from the World's Finest series. It wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't anything really that great. The next one I want to jump to is Nightwing, issue 123. Nightwing is one of probably the unsung heroes of the DC universe. I don't think a lot of people realize that Nightwing really does maintain being a really solid seller. Anyway, has 233 ratings with a 4.0 on League of Comics Geeks, which is higher than I gave it. I gave it a 7. Now, I do think I grade harder than they do, but I think it makes sense. If you follow the bell curve, most of them are going to be average, and 7 in my system is average. So anything above that, there's the sigma would be a less likelihood of that occurring. The writer is Dan Waters, artist is Dexter Soy. And by the way, this has some interesting alternate covers too for this book. Can Nightwing save his city from all-out war? As you remember, all these factions are fighting for power in the vacuum that has gone since Blockbuster. Nightwing answers a distress call from the genetically spliced Flyboys, creating an opportunity to bring another gang on board with his plan to save Bloodhaven Street from a bloody war. But have they mutated themselves too far to be saved? There's decent art in this issue. It's a nice throwback, too, one little section to the 60s with a line from Nightwing. You got all of those holy things, holy cow, Batman, that kind of thing. You just, they're just so goofy that you can't help but laugh at them. So anyway, in this one, really, I think Nightwing learns that he needs to buy a zipper as well. If you read the issue, you'll probably understand. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by My Wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies, possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you, everybody, and let's get back to the video.
Now, of course, with all the hype and movies and things, Marvel's trying to dip back into the Thunderbolts again. And have they ever been really able to relive the glory of the past? I don't think so. They've had some good series with Thunderbolts, but I know there's something about the original volume which was really good. This one did get a Thunderbolts Doomstrike number 1. Thunderbolts Doomstrike number 1. I guess I better tell you what the comic is, right? A 3.9 average rating with 164 ratings. So it's a good start off of readership and a decent score, where I gave it a 7.5. So not a bad start off, actually. And the writers Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with artist Tommaso Bianchi. And once again, no ill will to that. I tend to butcher names. That's got some interesting alternate covers too. Anyway, so Doom took over the world here, and Bucky Barnes, in a way, helped him do it. So as Bucky thinks he's doing well, doing the right thing, did he really? Well, we don't know. And Bucky's gonna have to assemble the Thunderbolts, if you will, this team of them, to go against Doom. And it's mediocre art at best. That's one of the kickers I have of it. It does have a flashback to the original fall of Bucky, which was a nice little thing for anybody who lives under a rock that doesn't know. So, anyway, Bucky, well, let's just say he made Doom mad, and I think he's going to regret it. So Doom, Doom doesn't take people meddling in his affairs very lightly, and Doom is nobody to, just do something against. Then again, though, Bucky was able to assemble a team and stop the Red Skull, right? So maybe he has a chance here as well. Let's jump into the Incredible Hulk number 22. Is it incredible? Well, it has 108 ratings with a 3.8, mostly positive, on League of Comics Geeks, which I was nowhere close to that. I gave it a 6.9. The writer's Philip Kennedy Johnson, and artist is Nick Klein. Now, I will say the art is an interesting thing. Some people like it, might not. There are some really good alternate covers, though, for this issue, and the cover wasn't too bad. But Bruce Banner is now fully locked away within the body and mind of the Incredible Hulk, at least for now. That's happened before. No more than a memory of Hulk's former self. But as Charlie, that side character, increasingly getting more violent, loses control of her alter ego, and appears to have killed some people. Can Banner help Charlie moving forward with his power, or is bad things gonna happen there? Well, Banner directs Charlie to mentally, it's a whole different little thing there. It's weird. Directs Charlie to seek Doctor Strange for help. But the thing is, this issue has mediocre art and the pacing is really slow. But let's check out some of the people and what their thoughts are on League of Comics Geeks. I'm going to read them. Oops, I made a noise there. I bumped my mic. Let's see, this one does a 3-star review. Says, I am unqualified to rate this as an issue of Hulk. I haven't read Hulk in years. I think this could be an interesting perspective then from somebody from the outside, and wanted to see what's going on. It'll year again before pick up Hulk. See, sometimes people just don't write clearly. It'll year again before pick up Hulk book again as a result of this. So in other words, they're saying it just wasn't for me. It was 5-minute read and it felt like Hulk was barely in it. I'll give it 3 stars, just not to ruin the metrics. Oh, so technically they didn't like it, is what they're saying. Let's find one that likes it more. Here is one that is a 4-star or a 3.5-star review. Well, that was effed up. This book is clearly a tragedy, and I wonder how long it's going to go. I feel really bad about Charlie and Hulk. They're both very miserable people, and instead of bringing out the best in each other, they seem to do the opposite. It's weird how I'm rooting for Banner against Hulk in this. Nick Klein's doing fantastic work as usual. So it seems like it's a negative, but it's really not. Let's find a 4 or 5-star review. Here we go. Here's a 4.5-star review. I love Charlie and how she interacts with Hulk. The characters are literally jumping off the pages. Great dynamics, and well with your attention. Once again, when they sound weird, I'm reading what's on the page. Now let's take one that's not so good. This is a 1.5-star review. If there is a hell in this book, It is the one that is terribly boring to follow. And that's sort of where I go. I found this one to be pretty boring, in my opinion. As you see, it's, I think, a pretty mixed bag. Some people love this direction, and some people don't. What's your view on this one? I'd like to know. Next one I'm gonna jump into blindly is Daredevil. Bad humor there. I know. I get it. Daredevil number 18. It had a 3.7 review out of 104 ratings, which is mostly positive. I give the book a 7.1, so not quite as high, though I do think the cover was interesting as all these people are holding Daredevil back, sort of tearing him at him. It's getting pulled from multiple directions. There's also some alternate covers that are pretty decent here as well. The writer is Salman Ahmad. Artist is Aaron Cooder. And we have the Wrath of the Devil. After weeks of suffering at the hands of his literal demons, Matt Murdock has a single bout ahead of him, facing the Wrath. Yes, the deadliest devil yet. Wrath has designs for Matt's soul, and it will stop at nothing to achieve them. Oh boy, Matt's in trouble. So as you see, Matt is still fighting the 7 deadly sins and has to make a tough choice in this one. It's a decent art and a decent story, but let's check out a couple reviews as well. Let's first start with a 4-star review. It says, let me pull it up here. These are all rated on League of Comics Geeks if you want to see them as well. You just have to search for them. So the first one says, good mix of character-driven drama, intense emotional resolution. Really like how Matt confronts the entity representing Foggy, not through a traditional exorcism, but by tackling the root cause, his pride. This unique approach adds depth to the narrative, emphasizing the complexity of their bond and Matt's personal growth. Good setup at the end too, with having Matt choose to, you ready? Save his friend or let Bullseye die. I like that. That was well written. Let's check out another one here. I'm going to go, this one doesn't have any stars, or they didn't do it, they just had a comment. Is anyone else annoyed by how we're still on introductory rights part 18? This run will end before the actual end of the story arc. Okay. So would be. Well, let's read another one that's a 3.5 stars. It says, oh, that's gore of my comfort character. I don't really understand that. People, if you're going to write a review, write them so they actually can be read and make sense. Maybe it's me. Maybe I can't understand these things. Is it me? Let me know in the chats. I'd like to know. All right, this next book has been very controversial, and we are definitely going to read some comments on this. And that's The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 68. Has 184 ratings with a 2.9, mostly negative. And I gave this book a 4 because I'm sorry, this book is trash. The writer's Justina Ireland and pencilers Andrea Bracconio, which, sorry dude, I can't mention his name right. The 8th Death of Spider-Man sadly continues. The Scions of Sidorak are too much, and Spider-Man has used up all of his lives. Well, here's what happens. This crappy story is continuing. It needs to end. Peter trades in his remaining lives because what happens is he sees now that Aunt May and a whole bunch of people die, even though it wasn't the reality he was shown. That was just a possibility of the reality of what was shown. But what happened was this, and this story is lame. So he sees that and he goes, I'll trade in my lives to bring these people back to life, which makes no sense in the continuity of this storyline itself. And this story is just lame. The banter in it, it's absolutely terrible. And even worse story, I'm sorry, but Peter witnessed all these people die. He knew it was going to happen, so he decided he couldn't do anything about it and did nothing. And then all of a sudden, seeing people die, he just, after a couple issues of oh, woe is me, just jumps up and goes, it's time to be Spider-Man again. I'm sorry, this was stupid. And it doesn't appear that the fans like it either. So let's read some of the reviews so we get more of a dynamic look at things and how people may differ, shall we? This first one is a 3-star review. And it says, and with this, Ireland's time on ASM comes to a close, for now at least. Honestly, while I don't think it's a bad issue, it feels a little rushed, particularly Peter coming out of his depression and apathy funk. Boy, yeah, did he come out that fast. I mean, we all know it happened eventually, true. And I'd like it was the deaths of his loved ones that snapped him out of it. But as I said, above. It just felt rushed. It does also feel contrived, since Peter should know that something exactly like this would happen if he stopped being Spider-Man. Maybe if there was more time to properly delve into this mental state or something, but I don't know. This is a 3-star review, by the way. Another positive note, I'd like that, without hesitation, he gave up the remaining reads to bring everyone back. You know, it is something he probably would do, but once again, it didn't make sense within the story. On to other matters. I really enjoyed Zyra being basically one of the heroes here. I disagree with that. Her seeing the devastation Calyx brought to the other Scions with the power of the Blight and the Soul Rot, and deciding to take him on directly, as well as her utter shock at Calyx snapping Spidey's neck, was a nice bit of humanizing emotion. And I disagree. So now Spidey's probably supposed to have lost all of his lives and then gets his neck snapped. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. It's something silly is going to spin this around. The ending with Spidey's true death didn't hit all that hard, but it's out due to the creative team. Outdue, but it's due to, they don't know how to type there, I guess. It's just that we all know he'll be alive and well again. And I agree. This is just, there is no impact. There's no ump. They've killed Spider-Man here so many times. There's a lack of any emotional connection here. This next review was a 1-star review. Oof. My God goodness. What the F are we getting here? Even Zeb Wells did a better Spider-Man returning. I have to agree. With the Spider-Goblin, speaking of him, I can't believe that I miss Wells now. At least some of his stories were fun, had a good art, or some appealing, mostly common making me angry, but though, I don't understand that. But in this arc, I just can't feel nothing for what's happening. I can't feel nothing. Boy, people, come on, take a little time in writing your reviews. It's so sad, bro. The only thing good here are the colors. The worst part, I was really liking the arc. I can't believe that. When Joe Kelly and McGinnis were doing it, I was really excited to see what was coming next. Darn! I just can't believe how awful this issue is. Now, of course, I'm editing language here. It looks like everyone is allowed to write Spider-Man except for the really good writers. Boy, I've been saying that for years. This was another turd. Let's see if I can find somebody that likes it. Here we go. Let's get something to counterbalance it with a 4-star one. Hard pivot, almost right away from the last few issues. Finally, we're done moping, come on, people, on the couch and getting something done. It's no secret what happens in this issue, but I won't spoil it. We all know. I'll let the abstract about the book do that. Spidey fans should be happier with this offering. 4 stars. I enjoyed it quite a bit. A flaw or two, but nothing to make me regret the purchase. I'd recommend it. Boy, this person has a different point of view than most, but let's find another 5-star one. This arc is pretty underestimated in my opinion. It started off slow and made some very risky moves regarding Peter and other characters, but it's grown on me a ton. It's grown like a fungus, if you ask me. I only really ever give 4 or 5 stars, occasionally 3, due to me easily being entertained. I think this says a lot right there, but I generally enjoy this 8 deaths arc. Excited to see how this one ends, and then the revamp. 5 stars. Wow, can I disagree any more than that? I'm opposite. This book is garbage. So let's end it on a final note with a 0.5 star review. Garbage. Not wasting any more words on it. Just trash from start to finish. Ooh. As you see there's some very die-hard differentiation in the opinions here, but it does skew heavily negative, and I have to fall on the negative side. You know, this was bad. So let's have a palate cleanser to end this off. We got to end on something good, right? So let's talk about G.I. Joe number 4. 172 ratings with a 4.1. Very positive. Yeah. Really? After that Spider-Man, we can't get anything? Come on, guys. This has a 4.1. There we go. And I think it deserves it. The creator's writer is Joshua Williamson. The artist is Tom Riley. The fight continues. Both Cobra and Joes are in a deadly contest to retrieve the Cybertronian tech first. Meanwhile, a Joe learns Cobra Commander's secrets the hard way. Now, I didn't give it as high of a score, though, as League of Comics Geeks. I gave it a 7.8, which is usually traditional. I'm usually scoring a little lower than them. Though this was a good book, it wasn't the best book so far out of the 4 issues we've received. Joes take a beating in this issue, and they get captured. Cobra Commander has plans for the Joes, but I think Duke has plans of his own. Maybe he meant to get captured. We're not sure yet. As I said, not the best issue in the series, but it's still a good issue, and this series has been continuing to be good. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, you definitely should be getting this. Even if you're not, you might like this alternate take with the Energon universe from the traditional Joe. Well, I will say this, G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero, has also been a solid series for the last few issues. I've read it all the way through from the very first issue to all the other, deviations from it and things, and I think it got a little overbogged with the mind control thing for a while, but it's at a place right now where I think it's pretty interesting. So Joe fans, you might like it. Even if you're not a Joe fan, you might enjoy it as well. But these are my takes, my views. I want to know what yours are. Do you like these comic books? Is there something I should have read? Do you want me to continue, by the way, giving you other people's opinions? I'm enjoying doing that. That way we get to see sort of a, this is their take, this is my take as we're in a comic book store. So maybe you go in there and you hear the discussion, and you can add to that discussion in the chat below by letting us know what you feel about on these issues too. Well, thank you everybody for supporting this channel. Without you, this truly would not have been possible. You've been nothing short of awesome. And you know what? Let's end this on a fun joke. Why don't clams like to share their pearls? Once again, why don't clams like to share their pearls? Because they're shellfish. Oh, come on. Nothing? There we go. Got a little bit. I had to force it in there, didn't I? All right, everybody. Thank you. Take care of each other, and let's bless each other. Until next time, keep it